Hello, it's me, Robin, with Simple Food, Simple Life. It's Friday Confab. Aren't you excited? Well, I'm excited because I get a chance to sit down and talk to you, and it's really nice. It's really nice for me, and I hope you enjoy it as well. I was thinking about something today, and I wanted to show it to you. It's a bottle of white vinegar. And I have to share this with you. I sometimes get burned when I'm in the kitchen, and I think anyone who cooks, sometimes you get a burn, or you might get popped with grease, or whatever the case may be. I put this on my burns. Last week I got burned, like these two fingers here, the tips of my fingers. I stupidly grabbed something that was hot, and I just pour some vinegar on there, kind of rub it in. I just put the vinegar on, and I never have a burn that blisters. The burn never blisters, because you know how it is. You get burned in the kitchen or whatever the case is, you'll usually get a blister. I never get a blister, and I did that just last week with these two, and I just want to share that with you because it really works. I don't know why it works. This is just cheap white vinegar, but it works. So I want to share that with you. Do you have any home remedies? I know sometimes people have these home remedies that are handed down through the family, and they'll even have whole stories about around how this remedy worked, and I think almost every family has that. So I'm kind of curious, do you have that? Do you have home family remedy stories? If you do, would you share them with us in the comments? Because now I know in the modern day today, they kind of poo-poo those kinds of things, like their wives' tales or whatever. But back in the day, they didn't necessarily have access to a doctor. A lot of communities didn't even have a doctor, and so it was just, they had to come up with their own remedies. That's why they made poultices, salves for healing, and picked plants. My older daughter makes a comfrey salve. She gives it to me, and every year she picks the comfrey, and it has to sit in a concoction, and it kind of ferments, and then she uses olive oil. She's used beeswax before, but she really has a lot of success with olive oil. She turns it into this salve. I've never made it, but she makes it. She gives it to me, and it's lovely. And she also puts some essential oils in there, and it's beautiful. So people have always made those things, and some people still do. A lot of people still do, and they've kind of made a comeback, I think, too. If you've ever watched the YouTube channel Rain Country, her name is Heidi, and she has a lot of home remedies, home concoctions, She even makes her own shampoo for her hair. She knows how to do everything. If you ever get a chance, watch Rain Country. She also does canning and things of that type too. So it's really lots and lots of good information on there. Now, I did want to address the canning because I've been doing some canning, and I've had several requests to do a canning video. Speaking of canning and home stuff, to do a canning video, and I just don't do canning videos. I know that there are a lot of YouTube creators who make canning videos, and they do a fabulous job. And if you're not familiar with canning and you want to learn, I think that's one way. Or you can check FDA. You can get yourself a blue canning or ball canning jar blue book, or a book, I think it is. The farm bureaus, local farm bureaus, they have a lot of information on canning, and you can access the internet for that if you need to. The reason why I don't do canning videos is because I don't want to inadvertently give wrong information, and logistically it's very difficult to film a canning video. It's also very time consuming. But the primary reason is I don't want to get too much into the weeds and come off as an expert on canning or food preservation. I am far from it. I've learned from others. I'm self-taught. I've just asked the questions over the years, and there's certain things I like to can. I did not start canning meat and beans until it was in the early 2000s. I started doing that, and that's when I bought the pressure canner. I had just done water bath things. I'd made some jams and jellies and things like that, tomatoes, but more in the early 2000s I got into canning meats, beans, and dehydrating foods, and found that I really was interested in it, and I quite enjoyed it. Now, I've never done it on a big scale, but I do enjoy the canning process, and have found a great benefit from that. So, as much as I would like to say, sure, I'll make a canning video, yes, I'd be happy to do that, I'm just not going to. I'm not going to make canning videos for the reasons I stated. I have, however, and probably will continue to show you some of the things especially on the community page that I canned. I just to show you that it can be done, and even I can do it. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. I mean, you can. It doesn't mean you're not going to have some failures. You will. I've had failures, and kicked myself around the block because you didn't think I could lift my leg that high, did you? But I can. I kicked myself around the block because I went to all that trouble, all that work, and lost product. Now, some people talk about, is it worth it? Is it cost effective, etc.? Well, when you're first starting out, personally, because sometimes you're going to have to get some equipment, it's costly. after a while, it will taper off so that it's not costing that much, especially if you're going to grow your food yourself. But it's a lot of work. You're going to put in a garden. You're going to expend all that water to water it. You're going to have to harvest these things, wash these things. I find lots of water is used for growing food and harvesting it and canning it. But by the same token, you know what you're getting. There is a certain amount of pride in being able to stock your pantry. My first mother-in-law canned hundreds of jars of food, hundreds, and I'm probably hundreds. So that it's lots and lots of work, takes some planning. I don't make it a marathon. For example, if I'm going to do tomatoes, I will process them, etc., get them all ready to be canned, and then the next day I'll do the canning of them. Some things I can just break up, and it makes it a little bit easier for me. How do you do it? I know that a lot of you are canners out there. Get a conversation going in the comments about how you do it. Do you enjoy it? Do you find it's economical for you? I know once you purchase the jars and the rings, you know, you're pretty good for a long time as far as not having to purchase them again. But, you know, you do have to buy the lids. I know they have Tattler lids that have the, you know, those are reusable. But I'm not over the moon about those lids. I have some. But I'm just not. I probably have had more fails with those kinds of lids than with just the regular. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you like them? Do you use them? I don't know. So canning is it cheaper just to go to the store and just stock your pantry with canned goods? I don't know. It may be. I mean, even with the prices going up, it may be. I don't know. I think it's got its pluses and minuses as far as canning and preserving food. If you do the food preservation, it's work. It's work. There is no way to get around that. It's work. And you have to stay on it and get that done. A lot of people don't can. They prefer to freeze their food, freeze their produce. And there isn't anything wrong with that. I do that too. But I think that's a personal choice for people. I like to have a little bit of each. The store-bought goods, things I preserved myself in canning and dehydrating and pickling or whatever, and freezing. I have some sauerkraut going downstairs. I mentioned to you in a previous video that I was going to make some sauerkraut out of that cabbage. I did. And I do have a video on that, on how I do it. It's pretty simplified the way I do it. It isn't difficult. So I'll try to remember to put the link in the description box if you want to go look at that. Someone asked about that in the comments, and so I gave her the link to that video. I made that video about 5 years ago, and you'd probably be surprised at how it's done, but it's how I make sauerkraut. So I've got some sauerkraut going downstairs, and some of you know it's in a container, in jars, and it's got a certain way I do it, and it's in the basement. I also ferment I've done some fermenting with food besides sauerkraut. And if you've never had fermented eggs, boiled eggs, they're delicious. And Heidi with Rain Country, she walks you through that. They're delicious. And I did that more so when the eggs were cheaper. And they're just good. I know it sounds strange and weird, but they're good. So also I grow sprouts. Some of you know that, and occasionally I do that. In the winter, I'll grow some sprouts. It's nice to have. My point is, it's kind of nice to know how to do things from scratch. Know how to do things, just some basic things. And you might be surprised how you will enjoy it and how it kind of gets you through things, the economy, and it helps you to use up what you have, which I think that's pretty important. So if you can learn a few basics, that's awesome. Okay, all right, that's it for me today. I love you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. I love reading your comments, and you all inspire me, you know that. And I always want you to remember that little is much when God is in it, okay? All right, I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and don't forget, winter's coming. All right, love you. Bye.